Welcome class to this next video. We are doing 4.4 day 2. Now, day 2, you're going to really appreciate this. We're doing synthetic division. Yesterday we did long division. And again, long division, it's a little bit tedious. It's pretty satisfying to do. I enjoy it, but for some, they don't like the process. Now, if you're one of those that do not like it, then synthetic division is going to be for you. Again, we always like to teach you the longer way. That way, when we show you a shortcut, you learn to really appreciate the shortcut. So, let's get started with problem number 1. The first thing I recommend doing is whatever we are dividing with. What you're going to want to do when we are doing synthetic division is you're going to want to set this parentheses equal to 0. So in this case, we want to set it equal to 0. X plus 3 equals 0, minus 3. Again, it should be pretty easy. You get x equals negative 3. Alright, I'm going to move this off to the side. So again, this is what we're going to do. Step 1 is to figure out what that equals. From there, it's a little bit of a process. You got to set it up. I'm going to put negative 3 here. And again, maybe your teacher does it a little bit different, but this is how I go. So you're going to put negative 3 here. And then next, what we're going to do is we're going to write down the coefficients. Again, make sure this is in standard form. It should be in order. And then you're going to list down those numbers. So the first one is 3, negative 2, negative 3, negative 60. Now, this problem doesn't have it, but if there is ever one of these missing, so say there was not a 2x squared there, just make sure if one of them is ever missing, you put a 0 in its place. We need a spot for every single place, even if it's not showing up. Alright, from there, the other thing we gotta do is we gotta put a line underneath, and then you put a dotted line. So this is going to be your setup for synthetic division. Seems weird, but the process is gonna make sense. So what you are going to do is you're gonna drop down the first number. And what we do is we have a 3 right here. You always drop down the first. And then you are going to multiply to go across and add going down. So you'll see and get the hang of it. So again, it's the same process. So first, I'm going to do negative 3 times positive 3. I multiply those. Negative 3 times positive 3, I'm going to get negative 9. Again, that's how I go over here. I multiply. Then to go down, we are going to add these two numbers. So again, I'm going to not worry about that. Now I'm going to add these two numbers, and then I'm going to get my next number. So again, negative 2 plus negative 9, that's going to be negative 11. All right. From there, now we're going to go back. We're going to multiply to go over. Down is add, over is multiply. Negative 3 times negative 11. I'm going to get myself a positive 33. After that, we need to add going down. And just wait a moment. Oh, Cleo. Alright, sorry about that. My cat wanted to get out of the room. Alright, after that, we're going to add going down, and we're going to get negative 20. Alright, after that, we need to multiply to go over. Again, we're going to multiply negative 20, negative 3, and we are going to get positive 60. And then last but not least, we will add going down, and this is going to be 0. Alright, so make sure you get that copy down. Now let me explain how we translate this. So, the first thing, this boxed off one, there's a reason this is boxed off. This is going to be your remainder. So, in this case, for this problem, there is no remainder. Our remainder would be 0. This worked out nicely. Now, after that, you're going to kind of work your way backwards. So then this first one right here, this is going to be your constant. Again, remember that means that there is no variable with this one. And then after that, that's going to be an exponent of 0. Next one would be 1. This would be our linear term. Again, remember that's going to be x. After that is going to be our quadratic term. And then this one is going to be x squared. And then from there, if there were more, it would just keep going. Again, you always start with remainder on the right, then you would go with constant, linear, quadratic. This would be x cubed. Again, that would be cubic. And then again, it could go up to quartic, it could go up to quintic. Again, it could go on for quite a while. So again, that's what happens with this one. But in this case, we only have these. So last thing I gotta do is rewrite my answer. So again, it's gonna be 3 is gonna be my quadratic. So in this case, I'm gonna write it as 3x squared. Next is gonna be my linear term, which is a negative 11x minus 20. And in this case, there is no remainder. If there was a remainder, again, it'd be kind of like the other day. Again, we'd say something like maybe plus 0 over, and then whatever we used at the start. So again, it'd be something like this. But again, because this is a 0, we don't have to worry about it. I'm just gonna erase that. So again, this is your answer. And again, should be much, much easier than what we did the other day. Again, I love synthetic division, one of my favorite lessons to teach. All right, let's look at the next one. Same thing on this guy. First thing I'm gonna do is set this equal to 0. This one works out, it's gonna be negative 3 again. All right, after that, what I want you guys to do is try to set it up. Again, some other way, some other teachers do it. Maybe you'd prefer this. Some teachers also like to set it up like this. Negative 3 there. And then this is where they're gonna put those values. So on this one, make sure you are careful. One mistake I'll see people do is they rush it. They would put this down. This is incorrect. Again, remember, look at your degree. We have a degree of 3, so it's x cubed. After that, we should have an x squared, and there is none, so I would put 0. Again, you gotta be careful. And then after that, it would be negative 2, then it would be 6. Again, this is my cubic, this is my quadratic, this is my linear term, and then, whoops, that 6 is my constant. Again, always look, with synthetic division, always double check to see if you're ever missing one. All right, whoops, wrong button. After that, let's do our process. Okay, drop down the first one. You always drop down the first one. And now we need to multiply to go over. So negative 3 times 1, I get negative 3. I'll add going down again. That's how we do this. We get 0 plus negative 3. That's negative 3. Now I multiply. I should get 9. And then I add. I get 7. Multiply. Negative 21. And then forgot to put those there. The last one should be negative 15. So again, this is going to be my remainder. This is my constant. This is going to be linear or my x term. And this would be my x squared term. Again, the last one is always going to be your remainder. So again, let's translate our answer in the bottom. First one is going to be right here. This is going to be 1x squared or just x squared. You don't have to put that 1 there. Next would be negative 3x, positive 7, minus, again, this is the remainder, so it's going to be 15 over. And again, we started out with this x plus 3. So it's going to be remainder x plus 3. All right, and that's going to be your answer for that one. All right, let's look at the next one. So on this one, it's going to start out the same. And again, remember, an exponent of a negative 1, that's just a fancy way of saying we are dividing by 4x plus 3. Again, remember, that's the exact same thing right there. All right. So let's start out the same way. Set that equal to 0. Again, I would minus 3. I'd get 4x equals negative 3. Divide by 4, and you get x equals negative 3/4. All right, so that's what we get. Again, I'm going to move this up to the side, and then I'm going to erase this. Give us some more space. All right. So again, I'm going to set it up. I'm going to write my negative 3/4, and then some teachers teach this differently. I'm just going to jump right in. Some teachers would have you take out a GCF from the top, but I like to just do it at the end. All right. 4, 3, negative 12, negative 1, 6, and then I put this dashed line for the last one. All right, let's do the process again. It's going to be the exact same setup. Again, really fast, double check, are any of my terms missing? Again, fourth power, third power, second power, first power, my constant. There doesn't need to be any extra zeros in there, so I'm good. All right, so I can go with this process. So the first one, I'm going to drop down. I get a 4. After that, I multiply it with this -3/4, and I get -3. Again, use your calculator if you need to. Next one, I add going down. I should get 0. -3/4 times 0 is going to give me 0. Again, always remember, add going down, I get -12. -3/4 times -12, that's going to give me +9. After that, I add those, +9, -1, I should get 8. And then for my last one, I should get -3/4 times 8. That's going to give me, let's see, -6. All right, and the final one I add, I should then get 0. All right. This is constant. Oh, whoops, sorry. This is our remainder. This is our constant. That's our x term, x squared, x cubed term. All right. From there, what we're going to do is rewrite it. And then on this one, again, we'll start out with that first one. That's 4x cubed. This is 0, so you don't have to write it. Don't need to worry about it. My next one would then be this -12x, and then I should get a +8. Now, like I said, some teachers teach this differently. Some teachers like to take out a GCF at the start. What we're going to do is we're going to take it out at the very end. That way we don't have to deal with a ton of fractions or anything. So again, we've done this plenty. We just had a chapter on it. We take out a 4. They all have that in common. And then we should be left then with x cubed minus 3x plus 2. Now, the good news is for today, we only care about this. It's kind of like when we solve. When you solve, you don't really care about that 4, so I'm just going to get rid of it. Actually, I'll just keep that there as a reminder. But your answer is just going to be what was on the inside. So x cubed minus 3x plus 2. Again, I find it easier just taking out the GCF from the answer at the end. All right, let's look at the next one. And again, if you want to, this would be a good one to practice. So maybe pause the video and then hit play. But I'm going to continue. So again, you guys should get the hang of this. Again, first thing is to set this equal to 0. +1 + 1. 2x equals 1. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X equals 1/2. All right, I'm going to move this somewhere else. And then I'm going to erase this. All right, so let's set this guy up. 1/2. I look to see. We get 4 first. And notice there is no cubed, so we need to put a 0. -37, +4, +9, and then we put dashes on the last one. All right, same process as before. Drop the first one, then we start multiplying. So 4 times 1/2, half of 4, that's going to be 2. 0 plus 2, 2. Half of 2 is going to be 1. All right, add -36. Half of that is going to be -18. 4 plus -18, that's going to give us -14. And then half of -14, that's going to be -7. And that should give us a +2. Again, add going down, multiply to go over. Remainder, constant, x squared, x cubed. So again, constant, linear, quadratic, and cubic, or you could just do it like this. All right, let's rewrite it. 4x cubed plus 2x squared minus 36x minus 14 plus 2 over 2x minus 1. Now, what I'm going to recommend for you guys is just wait a second. Before we do this and put it over our remainder, let's look at our numbers that we have. I'll write that just a little bit bigger. Again, remember, when you have all your numbers, all you want to do is double check. Can I take out a greatest common factor? Kind of like on this guy. Can I take out a GCF? Is there a number that goes into all of them? And you should be looking, you should be noticing that these are all even numbers. So we know for sure if they're all even, we can take out a 2. All right. What we should then be left over is going to be 2x cubed plus 1x squared. Again, you don't have to write that 1. minus 18x minus 7 plus 1. Now I want to put in that remainder. Again, you do not want to change this bottom part. Again, we don't want that to change. You don't want to factor out a 2 from that. So again, that's why I said to wait a second instead of doing that. Again, I don't want you to accidentally try to take out a 2 from that bottom part. Alright, so again, you could try to look here and see if you could take out a number. So again, this is your final answer. Let's just put a box around it. Alright, so that is synthetic division. So really quickly, I'm going to go through these exit ticket problems just so we can see how they are done. Alright, let's start with the first one. Again, big thing on this is just make sure you are very careful with your negative signs. That's where I always see mistakes, is with those negatives. Alright, so we're going to rewrite this. 5m plus 1. Then on the inside, it's going to be 5m cubed plus m squared minus 45m minus 9. Okay, same with this one, just like synthetic division. Just make sure there's no zeros missing in this case. I'm checking m cubed, m squared, m. We're good to go. All right, let's begin this process. So remember, when you do this, I like to put parentheses on the outside just to remind me what I changed. The first term I got to change for all of it. So it's a game of matching. 5m needs to match with this 5m cubed. We only care about the leading terms. We just want to cancel out that first one. In this case, to get 5m to match up with m cubed, 5m cubed, I just need to multiply it by m squared. And now remember, what we're going to do is multiply both of them. So I should be left with 5m cubed plus 1m squared. Alright, I can erase that now. And then from there, what I need to do is I need to subtract. Now, please, please, please make sure, put this in parentheses. If you have a highlighter, I highly recommend it. What I want you guys to do, again, you gotta be careful. Where I see all my mistakes is we are going to distribute this negative through the parentheses. Distribute it, and this is gonna become a plus. And then I'm gonna highlight this to remind myself I did distribute the negative. Those minus signs are what throws off a lot of these problems for a lot of kids. Okay, we distribute the negative. Now I'm going to add, going down, 5m cubed plus a negative 5m cubed. Those cancel. Then on this one, 1m squared plus a negative 1m squared. These guys cancel. So I'm going to be left with 0. After that, it's just like what you do with long division. We'll drop down that 45m. And then in this case, we'll also drop down that minus 9 because everything got canceled. Alright, after that, we're playing a new game of matching. We're no longer dealing with this one. Now we're going to try to cancel out with this term here. Alright, same as before. We're looking at these two right here. I just need to multiply that 5 by a negative 9. Again, I want 5 to match up with that negative 45. We multiply by negative 9. Again, I'm going to distribute it to both of these terms. And I should get negative 45m minus 9. Again, from there, we're going to subtract them. And I make sure to put in parentheses and put the negative there. And again, I try to remind myself I need to distribute that negative, so I change the signs on the inside. This will now be plus. Now I highlight it. I did it. Alright, from there, we add these guys. They all cancel. We're left with a nice 0 at the end. Notice there's nothing else to drop in down over here, so there is no remainder. Again, this would be our remainder, which if it's 0, that's what we want. That means it worked out nicely. So in this case, our answer is just going to be this on top. So m squared minus 9. Alright, so let's look at another one. That one worked out nicely. Let's see what happens when they don't cancel out every time like that. Because again, you'll get problems just like this. Alright, for our next one, on this one, I'm going to have p squared plus 3p plus 12. Oops. Plus 12 on the outside, and we are going to be dividing p cubed, and notice this one you do got to be careful. We're missing a lot of terms, so we're missing the p squared. And again, if you're ever missing one, you put just the 0. We're missing our linear term and that minus 41. All right. On this one, just like last time, let's play our game of matching. So on this one, p squared, p cubed. Should be able to know what to do with that. Again, remember, we do have to multiply everything, so I put in parentheses, but to get them to cancel, I will multiply by p. And now I need to distribute that to everything, so I get p cubed plus 3p squared plus 12p. And again, all our terms should be matching. So again, that's what I get when I distribute. Alright, I put it in parentheses. And then remember, we have a minus sign on the outside. So again, very, very important. We got to distribute that negative. So again, I change all the signs on the inside. Those are all positives. This is now a plus. I'm going to highlight this just to remind myself I did a good job. I did it. All right, let's add going down. P cubed plus a negative p cubed, canceled. 0 plus negative 3, that's going to be negative 3p squared. Next one, 0 plus negative 12, that's going to be negative 12p. And then again, just like when you do long division, we drop down the next one at negative 41. All right, on to the next one. We're done with this one. Now we're going to play our matching game with this next level. All right, now I need p squared to match up with this negative 3p squared. All I need to do is multiply it by a negative 3, and again, we need to distribute it to everything. And I should get negative 3p squared, negative 9p, negative 36. All right. There we go. Put it in parentheses. This is a negative. From there, let's distribute that minus sign. I'm going to get positive, positive, positive. Now I'll switch that sign, highlight it. I did a good job. I got it. We didn't forget, and I'm not kidding you, this is the biggest mistake I always see, is that sign right there. All right, let's finish this. These cancel. Negative 12 plus 9p, that's going to give me 3p. Negative 41 plus a 36, that's going to give me negative 5. And then from there, you should notice, this is when you notice you're done. Notice, there's no way to multiply this p squared to match up with that 3p. Again, we can't take away a p. We can't take away any of the variables we have. So that tells you you are done. There's no more you can do. And again, remember, this is then going to be our remainder. So the first part of our answer is up top. This is the second one. Let's put it together. So we should get p minus 3. And then this is going to be, oops, forgot my sign. That's a negative 3. Minus 3 minus 5. Whoops, what am I writing? Negative 3p let me double check my signs real fast. All right. So negative 3p minus 5. Again, we're going to keep it simple for right now. Over p squared plus 3p plus 12. This is going to be it. So we are going to add our remainder. Now, what you could do if you wanted to, you could then notice that we have everything is a subtract sign on top. If you wanted to, then you could factor out that negative. So you could also get p minus 3 minus positive 3p plus 5. Again, you could also get this. All right. Now, let's look at the last two. Again, synthetic division. I'll go through it a little bit quicker. You set this equal to 0, and you should then get a 4 right here. So on this one, we should get a 4 on the outside. I write in those numbers on the inside. 1, negative 4, positive 1, negative 6 eighths. In this case, I double check. There is no missing pieces, so I can just go straight into it. So drop down the first, and then let's multiply. 4, 0, multiply 0, add going down 1, multiply to go over 4, add -2, multiply -8, add 0. And again, here we go. Remainder, constant, x squared, x cubed. I should get 1x cubed or just x cubed plus 1x or just x minus 2, and there is no remainder, so this is just your answer. Whoops, that should be k's. So I'll fix that real fast. All right, and the last one, again, feel free, pause the video, try to see if you can do it, but we should set this equal to 0, and then you should get a 4 here again. In this case, I'll get 2, -13, +23, whoops, and then -2. All right, drop down the first, and then we'll start multiplying. 8, -5, -20, 3, 12, and then you get 10 when you add. Remainder, constant, x squared. All right, on this one, again, make sure you're always doing this, but make sure you double check. Can I take out a GCF? X squared minus 5x plus 3, and then we put a 10 up top. We're a little hesitant. I check 2, 5, 3, and 10. Nope, we're all good, so then I can just finish this out. X minus 4 on the bottom. All right, that is it for this one.